Alright guys, Paul back here again. In this video I'm going to be doing a detailed review of the brand new 2021 release of the dual plated WWE Winged Eagle replica belt. So I've actually just unboxed this belt right here about a minute ago, so it is literally brand new out of the packaging. The one you see to my left here is one you might have seen me unbox a few weeks ago. They're both the same belt. This one is on real leather now though, so I've fully re-leathered this one. This one is the one we're reviewing that is on the standard WWE shop simulated leather strap. At the end of the video I'll compare it to the real leather version and you can kind of see the differences. In another video coming up later this week we will be comparing this belt to this almost identical one you'll see behind me here. This one here is actually the misspelled version of this that came out in the middle of 2021. That one was cancelled and recalled and then remade into this version. So there'll be a video coming up very soon. Like I said, that version has a spelling mistake on it and a few other differences that they've now improved on the version you can buy from WWE shop now. So that'll be coming up later this week. As mentioned, I'll compare these two towards the end of the video. One last thing before I do forget, I will also be doing a separate video comparing this 2021 remake of the Winged Eagle to the 2014 and onwards up to 2021 version of the Winged Eagle as well. So I'll compare this to the old version because I've had a few people asking, is it worth upgrading to the newer version? Is the old version pretty much the same? Are there many differences? So I'll answer all those questions in a future video coming up soon as well. Right, so this version of the belt is actually, right off the bat, I should say, a really good replica. I'm very impressed with it. One of the things I should mention right up front is it has all the screws on the back of this belt covered up with the simulated leather vinyl backing. So some people like that. A lot of people that are more hardcore in the belt hobby don't particularly like that because most of us will end up having our belts re-leathered with real leather anyway. So as standard, that's a pretty cool feature, but it wasn't 100% necessary in my opinion. The plates on this belt are the 5mm thick casted plates, 6mm probably at some points, they're there or thereabouts. And the big addition on this belt, which it doesn't feature on the other versions of the Winged Eagles, apart from the Master Series, is the bars are finally attached. So you'll see how much the side of the plate along with the side bars hangs off of the simulated leather strap. So at long last, the bars on the Winged Eagle replica are finally attached in place. So that is a big change that has happened on this version of the belt. Previous replicas had the bars as separate plates screwed onto the strap by themselves. At long last, they've finally done this improvement and it is such a big change. So I should say, if that's something that always bothered you on old versions of the Winged Eagle replica, this has perfected it. This is exactly as it should be. I'm thrilled with the way this replica has come out with the bars themselves. If that's the only thing you're asking about, 10 out of 10 on that front. Okay, but we're going to go in depth on the whole belt. So we'll start off on the left hand side with the simulated leather strap. So as mentioned, the simulated leather strap on this belt, it looks really good. The flexibility we'll get onto at the end. It's a little bit better than some, but still not perfect, which it never will be as simulated leather, as we all know. So as you can see, we've got the simulated tooling imprinted onto the strap on this side. It looks nice for what it is, and we've got, of course, that camouflage imprinted style tooling that goes all the way around the 5 main plates, all the way around to the logo plate. The plates on this belt are really nice. As mentioned, they are those 5-6mm thick casted plates, and they're dual plated, so you'll see the nickel plating in the recessed areas, and then the raised areas are all gold as well. So it's nice to see all the nickel in between these sunburst patterns. Hopefully that's showing up nicely there. Great amount of detail showing up on this belt, and of course those WWE logos, which are now centered on the plates. We'll talk more about that in the comparison versus the 2014 Winged Eagle. The center plate, as mentioned, the sidebars are attached. The plates hang off the strap quite nicely there. The world banner on this belt is actually an extra plate stacked on top, so this can actually be removed if the plates themselves are removed, if you take the backing off and things like that. So the world banner is an extra piece on top of that. The curve on this center plate as well is improved from the 2014 version. It is actually a decent curve. It is actually a really decent curve. It is a small belt, obviously, the Winged Eagle, so it's not going to be a ridiculous curve like the Undisputed V2 has. But for being such a small belt, I'm very impressed with this. It's a much improved curve from all the previous versions of this replica. I have mentioned before these casting flaws on more recent belts. As you can see, there's kind of lines almost showing up behind it. A lot of the more recent replicas, the 2021 models, are showing up these kind of flaws, as you can see there, which it personally doesn't really bother me that much, but I know a lot of people are starting to not like this as it becomes more obvious on more belts. Logo plate here, the WWE Champion. It does have imitation logo plate tooling, which I like to see. It's a really nice addition to the belt. Of course, the snap box here on the female snap box. We've got the plastic covering protecting the snaps there. Right, I'm going to flip the belt over so we can take a proper look at the rear of the belt here. The screws on the back of this belt are all covered up. The screws themselves are actually different than normal replica belt screws. The normal replica belt screws are these type of ones here, the wide screws. The ones on the back of this one are actually a lot smaller. They've used different screws so that they can cover them up and make them look a little bit tidier, I guess. Little silver screws to attach these plates on. The center plate is only attached with 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom of this belt, so as you can see, that's why the plate shows up so well overhanging the edge of the strap. This is very similar to what the belt on TV had. The belt on TV had a center screw as well, as most real belts do. But as mentioned, this is a 2021 replica. As you can see there, we've got, of course, the stickers on the back of this belt, the patch there. The screws looking really nice covered up here. Those 2 bulges are the screws, which are these type of screws underneath it. Those are essentially pushing against the strap and bulging up a little bit, because that's how the world banner is screwed on. So on my re-leathered version, I've actually removed the screws and I actually just epoxied the world banner in place so that this bulging wouldn't happen on the back of that belt, which I think looks a little bit better. Other than that, they don't have the back of the male snaps covered up, which you would normally do on a real belt that has backing, which I'm not sure why. It's just the order of things they do. I guess they put the snaps into the simulated leather straps last. The snaps exposed on this side with the back of the tip. It is of course just a standard tip that screws together as you would expect. Flexibility of the strap is pretty non-existent. It's a simulated leather strap, so as you'd expect, it's not great. I've seen a lot of people praising the simulated leather on this belt, and it's okay. It looks decent, so for display it's fine. But, I mean, realistically, yeah, it's going to flop down, but that's because there's so much strap that has room to kind of flop down. In between the plates, you're still going to get very little, to be quite honest with you there. So it's all right for what it is. I 100% think it's all right for what it is. But when we compare that to the real leather strap version, so, real leather strap version, yeah, you can kind of just see the difference there quite immediately. So this, of course, real leather, it's going to flex just like the belt did on TV, and that looks quite ridiculous just like that if I hold it by the bars there. Again, similarly to the other side there. Yeah, so a real leather Winged Eagle, I think, is a special looking belt, especially now that we finally got the bars attached to the plate. It's such a cooler way to kind of hold the belt now. Now if you hold it up, it's all falling down as it should. If you remember the way Bret Hart used to fold his belt up, that you could see the bars hanging off the edge there. It's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference when actually handling and holding the belt. So, as mentioned, it's still a decent simulated leather strap, I will say, but it can't compare to the real leather. I mean, that's just like the belt on TV. Right, so as mentioned, you will see the bulging of the 2 screws underneath the screws themselves that you'll see. So that's the world banner. So on the real leather version, I removed the screws there, and the world banner is just epoxy resined in place, which leaves the back a little bit smoother, a little bit tidier. As you can see there, on a real leather strap, you would usually cover up the back of the snaps on that side, and they're of course exposed there. So yeah, you can see just how the belt kind of flops over and the kind of difference the real leather strap makes there. I must say, as far as Winged Eagle replicas go, this thing is outstanding. The fact that you can literally just, on real leather, it's one of my favourite replicas in a long time, I have to say, I think. There's something special about Winged Eagles as a real belt, and this is really as close as a replica has been, simply because of those bars. The amount that they hang off of the strap, I'm so surprised that WWE actually replicated that so much. As we'll go into when I talk about, in my next video, when I talk about the recalled version, the one with misspelling, the bars didn't hang off the strap like this. So this is an improvement they've made between the misspelled version and this one. And I'm so happy they made that improvement, because it might look a bit strange to someone that's really not handled the Winged Eagle, the fact that so much of the plate is hanging off of the strap. But nah, this is the way it's supposed to be. And yeah, I'm so impressed that they have upped their replica belt game to this level. Yeah, no complaints from me on this one. As you can see, it folds up quite nicely there. This is genuinely one of the best replicas WWE have put out in a long time. It's not near the top of my list. I would still consider the Undisputed V2 and the United States, the current version of the replica. I think those are probably still the top 2 replicas WWE Shop have made. This is as good as I could have ever expected them to do a Winged Eagle. Genuinely, 100% honest. Like I said earlier, I didn't expect them to go as far as copying the screw positioning. Because on the Winged Eagle, that was quite a big thing. The fact that, like I mentioned, the way Bret Hart would fold up the belt, he would kiss the belt, and you would see how the leather would hang down from the bars. That was a big deal for hardcore belt collectors, people that are obsessed with the minute details of belts. Things like that is a big deal, as stupid as it sounds. So seeing them finally replicate that accurately on a belt is outstanding. I can't actually praise this highly enough. I think it is an outstanding replica. They've made so many improvements. WWE replicas have stepped up so much as of the past 2 years or so. This is another, like, what's the baseball term? Home run, that was it. Fucking hell. Yeah, this is another home run. I can't recommend it enough. If you already have a Winged Eagle replica, the 2014 or previous version, like I mentioned, I will be comparing this to that version in an upcoming video, so I'll give my full thoughts comparing the 2 Winged Eagle versions in that video. But if you don't have a Winged Eagle, if you're on the fence about buying this replica, it's an A+ from me. As long as the logo doesn't bother you, there is no reason why this isn't a replica that you should add to your collection. So that's my full thoughts. That's my kind of overview of this belt. It's such a good replica. It will be in my top 10 list of any current replicas WWE sells. It's so damn good. So that's my thoughts on this belt. Let me know your thoughts. Do you own this belt? I want to kind of ask in the comments, do you own this belt? If so, let me know. Do you own the 2014 to 2021 version, and are you considering picking up this version? I want to kind of gauge people's opinions of it, because if you already own the old version, I'll talk about it in another video, but are you considering this one? I want to know. So yeah, that being said, if you did enjoy this video, please do subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. Like the video, and thank you for watching. Cheers.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP, and if you want to get one of the greatest belts made for you, go to Paulmartinbelts. That's right, sucker.